My name is Jennifer Birnstihl, and I work for the Business and Education Partnership of Waterloo Region as a program manager. We're a local charity that helps young people in our community explore and experience successful careers. Tonight, I have some great guests visiting us. They're all popping on the screen here. We have people from Starling Employment Services, Supporting Ontario Youth, apprenticeship.com, and both the Waterloo Region District School Board and Waterloo Catholic District School Board. So I will introduce everyone as they are going to have time to speak, but I just wanted them all to pop on briefly so you could see them, and you'll see them all again in a minute. So thanks, everybody. I'm happy to host this event, which is designed to assist you with your next steps by educating you on the many services, resources, and contacts available to you for your next steps as you continue your career journey in the skilled trades and graduating from the OYAP program. Thank you to both local school boards. Dave and Cidalia are representing the Catholic and the public school boards tonight. And before we get started, I'm just going to do a brief land recognition. We'd like to acknowledge that the land on which we gather today is a land traditionally used by the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Neutral peoples. We acknowledge their enduring presence, deep traditional knowledge, laws, and philosophies of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land. So today's agenda, we're going to have 15-minute presentations from each of our guests. From Starling Employment Services, Erin, Supporting Ontario Youth, Sarah, apprenticeship.com, Emily, and the school boards will also have a chance to end. We will ask that you can type questions in at any time during the session using the Q&A feature in Zoom, and we will be answering those questions as we go. At the end, we will also answer a few live. And the questions that don't get answered before we finish, don't worry, we will capture them and you will receive an email with the answers after the presentation, probably tomorrow. So we're thankful for all the representatives tonight taking time to share their resources. And I would like to introduce you to our first guest now. We are going to introduce Erin McLaren, Employment Specialist from Starling Employment Services. And Erin, I'm going to let you take it from here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Let me just pull up my quick presentation here and we will get ourselves going. Ooh. All right. So as mentioned, my name is Erin. I work at Starling Community Services. Starling does a few different things in Waterloo region, and we also support Guelph as well. And so I am going to be speaking to our employment services. We do also support with housing and mental health services. So that's all kind of under Starling's umbrella. But today we're going to focus on employment services and what we do and what we can offer you in that section of our work. The main thing to know is that if people are job searching, we are here to support that job search process in the best way that we can. So whether that is from figuring out what kind of work is it that I want to do, trying to get the skills that you need to do the job that you're interested in, marketing yourself and networking in the community to try and nail that that connection with an employer and be able to take that next step, actually getting a job, being hired, and then also keeping work as well. Job retention is a big part of what we do. All these different steps along the way of finding and keeping work is part of what we do when we assist job seekers in our community with their job search. And that can include, of course, apprenticeship search and looking for that connection with an employer in the skilled trades. So the basics are, we help folks that are job searching. I'll give you some more specifics within this. So our services are free. We're funded by the Ministry of Labor, Training and Skills Development, and so we offer those job search supports for free. We have 3 resource centers that offers employment services. Our locations are in Cambridge, in downtown Galt, in Kitchener, in downtown Kitchener, and in Guelph as well in their downtown. So the resource centers, you're welcome to drop in during our open hours, which is weekdays during the day, and folks will come and job search in the resource centers. sometimes just asking some brief questions about where to be looking for work, so asking if someone can take a quick look at their resume, or asking more about how to connect with our more in-depth services. And then mostly the way that we provide the supports largely is one-on-one support through an employment service team. So you're connected with a staff team of 2, and then they work together with you on your job search. Those staff help make connections to employers. We can support with applying for funding for retraining if you're thinking about maybe not thinking about school right now, but if you're thinking down the road about some retraining options, then we've got some connections that can explore those with you as well. And then we try to also share with the folks that are job searching with our support, any workshops we have coming up, job fairs and events that are going on. So we like to keep that community connection going and share those things along to the folks that are getting our support with job searching. So all kinds of different ways that we try and assist job seekers ultimately so that folks can move towards employment. That one-to-one job assistance, our employment advisors help in a bunch of different ways. All these we call kind of pre-employment services, is something that you might hear as a phrase. So that would include your resume, making sure that it's looking strong for the type of work that you're looking for, especially if you have experience in a skilled trade and are looking for work in the trade, then getting that resume really solid and looking awesome to put in front of employers is going to be a key place to start. We support with cover letters when it makes sense to do so. Things again like goal setting, identifying in-demand skills, making sure that your job search strategies are effective for our current labor market, interview preparation and practice, and again, those looking at training options, even if it's something like a short-term training, we might help somebody get their, not into trades necessarily, but like a smart serve, or if you need working at heights, then we can assist with some of those kind of brief trainings, depending on your job search. So that's one half of the service team that you would work with is that employment advisor. And the employment advisors are focused on the job seekers pretty much exclusively of supporting you with getting that job search to a place where it's happening effectively and you're feeling good about it. And then our employment consultants, they have a neat role that they hold, and that kind of goes beyond just working with job seekers. So the employment consultants or ECs, they work with job seekers, but also work with employers. And so when you are connected with us at Starling, you are also connected with the network of different businesses and employers that we have relationships with. And our goal is whenever possible, we want to connect job seekers with employment opportunities that are suitable to them. And then we also want to match try and match your interest and your job goal with what employers are looking for and the labor that they need to help meet their needs. So it's not just about that skill building for job seekers, but also making connections directly to employers and supporting you to be confident doing that as well. Goes into a little more detail. I'll be sending the slides later. So like that'll go out in the email package afterwards. So don't worry too much about the details, but the employment consultant also can provide more in-depth labor market information. So understanding, maybe I was thinking of going into a certain area, but is that area actually in demand? Can I make a little sidestep and go into a different area that's more in demand, maybe in our community or at this time? They have that, they're job searching and working with employers all the time. And so we have that up-to-date information about the labor market. We can really be a coach alongside you, that second kind of set of eyes, looking at your resume, looking at the types of places where you're applying and making sure that everything's aligned. We network on your behalf and support you to build your networking skills. We will provide connections and job postings to places that are linked with us. We help with a lot of strategy. Again, not just for finding work, but also for keeping work. So after you have a job, if there is assistance that you need to try and be successful, then we help with those pieces as well. And then there are, we have some financial supports too that can sweeten the pot for employers. So there's some extra tools we kind of pull on in our toolkit when we're able to help make some of those connections and get folks into work maybe quicker than we might be able to do on our own. Ultimately, the idea is that you connect with us and the employment advisor and the employment consultant, and you as the job seeker work together as a team on your job search instead of you working alone on the job search. So we're there as the coaches and the support system to identify the places where maybe we could make some tweaks and make some improvements and help you make those connections to hopefully be successful with your job search. In terms of folks who can participate, so generally everyone needs to be 18 or older. There are some exceptions to this. So if you are, I think everyone's kind of wrapping up their connection with OYAP anyways. And so if you're finishing up high school and set to graduate, then don't worry too much about this eligibility piece with the age. Feel free to reach out to us and we can have that detailed conversation with you. You'll need to be a resident of Ontario. Specifically for Starling, you'll have to be a resident of either Waterloo region, including the rural townships, or Guelph, Wellington. But there are other programs like ours that are offered in other parts of Ontario if you happen to be moving to a new community. And you need to be eligible to work in Canada. And then there's some other kind of detail pieces. This is the major things. So I would recommend if you're interested to reach out to us and then we'll figure out all the details from there. So that's all the info I'm going to throw at you. That was quick. I'll put this up here for a minute, but you can find us online at Starling CS, starlingcommunityservices.ca. And that'll show you all the different information about all three areas that we work in: housing, children's mental health, and employment. And so you can find us under our employment section for that employment information. I've got our Kitchener and our Cambridge numbers on here if you want to jot those down quick. I find that usually phone is the best way to kind of get a hold of us and get the ball rolling if you're interested in knowing more about the services that we offer. And the program that you would be connecting with somebody about is called Employ Next. You'll also hear Employment Ontario. So those kind of are that one-on-one job search support that we provide. That's the name of that program. I'm going to stop my screen share now and take a look at those chats. It's just our info. Thanks, Dave. All right. Unless there's any other questions, then that is me.
Thanks, Erin. Thanks for sharing. That was a great amount of information and some really useful resources.
A little fast, maybe, but
that's okay. That's okay.
If you're job searching, we're here. That's the piece. It's easy.
A lot of great resources. So I hope students will take advantage of these services. So thank you, Erin. Okay, so moving right along, I'm now going to introduce Sarah Serrano from Supporting Ontario Youth, otherwise known as SOY, and she's going to have the floor to tell you about this other great organization and resources that are available to you once you graduate. Sarah?
Yes, thank you so much. So I'm going to start by sharing my screen. Okay. So hopefully you're all seeing that there on the screen now. So we are Support Ontario Youth. There's a variety of things that we do. My name is Sarah. I am the lead trade manager here at SOY. So we're just going to go over briefly, very quickly, some top information you should know about apprenticeship. And then we'll go over who SOY is and how we can support you in various ways, as well as you are now graduating and moving on past high school. So the first thing that we always like to highlight, just quick overview, is that what is an apprentice to begin with? An apprentice is everything that you see here. So you're a high school graduate, but you're also going to continue being a student. It is still a post-secondary educational pathway. Most of your education will be happening on the job, but you will also need to attend college courses at various times throughout your apprenticeship. And you do need to be hired first, so you do also become an employee and an income earner at the same time. So that is what makes this pathway a little bit different than going straight through to college or a university pathway. No, I don't think it's switching the slide. Give me a second. Oh dear. Tech issue. Hold on. Here we go. There we go. Okay, so here is a poster that I'm sure you're all very familiar with, or one very similar. We, of course, borrow this from our friends at OYAP all of the time. The reason I am putting this on the screen is because it is a great reference point for you to see when you know the trade that you're interested in. There's some important information that you can see on here that will help guide you on things that you need to know as you go down this learning journey. So do you see the red maple leaves on the poster beside certain trades? These are Canada's Red Seal trades. So once you're licensed in a Red Seal trade, that means that you can work anywhere in Canada. So you can reference this poster to see which of those trades actually fall under that Red Seal umbrella. And then the ones that have that green triangle, that will tell you which ones are the compulsory trades. So compulsory trades means that you have to be registered in that trade to be able to work in the full scope of that trade. So that is some important information that you need to understand about the apprenticeship that you want to go into. But what you don't see here, and you do also need to be aware of, is ratios. So a ratio trade is when an employer can only have one apprentice for one journey person. And this is important for you to know because if your employer only has one licensed journey person and they already have an apprentice, then you know that there isn't currently a space available for you to become an apprentice. Majority of the ratio trades are going to be under the construction sector. So just keep that in mind as you're going through your job search. And then finally, when it comes to monitoring how you progress through your apprenticeship, you're going to want to know if you're in a competency-based trade or hours-based trade. The majority of hours-based trades are also found in the construction sector. And what you need to know about that is that it means that Skilled Trades Ontario could ask you to show proof of the hours that you have worked at any point. So make sure you're keeping a record of that as you move through your learning. And with the competency-based trades, you are going to get signatures in what's called a logbook. And I can show you later on where you can find that. Okay, so moving along, the apprenticeship pathway. This is a very quick overview of what you can expect once you get started into your apprenticeship. It starts with getting registered. Some of you may already be registered, having started in OYAP. But if not, then once you get an employer that agrees to train you, you will get that registration document and you will start with the on-the-job learning portion first. At some point, though, you will need to go to trade school, as we mentioned. So you will cycle between going to college courses and learning on the job. How many times you're going to cycle between the two will depend on your trade. It could be anywhere from 2 levels to 4. So that's some information that you're going to want to find out as well as soon as you know which trade you're going into. Once you have finished all of those components, though, you will be ready to complete your apprenticeship. At that point, there's some paperwork that you will be made aware of. And then you will be ready to write that exam that I'm sure you've heard of already. It's called a Certificate of Qualification, also known as a CFQ. Once you have that CFQ, so once you have passed that exam, that's what gives you your license in that trade and you become a licensed journey person. AI is a big topic that we hear about all the time when it comes to the skilled trades. A lot of talk about how it's going to impact it. And what we can say is that AI is enhancing the trades in many positive ways, including making jobs safer and more efficient. The demand for human skill and creativity is going to continue. There are certain things that AI cannot replace. It cannot replace that human interaction. So overall, what you can rest assured that AI is going to be helping the trades, but it's not going to replace them. It might just change how some of the things operate within the trades themselves. Many tradespeople don't work on the tools their entire career. So if you want to start that way, but then move on to some other options, having a trades license opens up the door to many possibilities for career growth. And on the screen is just an example of some of those future career pathways that you could consider. Entrepreneurship is a big one, especially in motive power and hairstyling, as well in the service sector. So there's lots of trades where you could own your own business as well. You could also move on to become an educator at some point. Perhaps you want to teach at the high school level or maybe in college, but we do need tradespeople to teach a lot of those courses. So you can see there's a lot of options beyond the tools themselves. So now that you're graduating, what now? What do you need to know moving forward? For those graduating, here are some documents that you'll want to make sure that you have on hand. These will be helpful for you as you leave high school. Your OYAP certificate letter or employment letter will help you during your job search, especially if there are hours listed on there that can help you when it comes to that tracking portion that we mentioned. Your high school diploma is going to be proof that you have completed high school. You will need to update Skill Trades Ontario on that completion once you are there. Your registered training agreement, if you had one already through your OYAP program, please save a copy of that somewhere. There's some important information on there that you will need moving forwards. Give you a hint, client ID is one of the most important numbers that you can have, so do save that. And if you did get some signatures on your competencies or skills that you learned in your logbook, then save a copy of that as well. That's another thing that you can use, a tool, when you are interviewing with new prospective employers. There have been some changes in the past year, so just some up-to-date information for you to be aware of. When it comes to your registration, if you did do OYAP and already have an RTA, you don't need to get a brand new one once you leave, but you do need to update Skill Trades Ontario. So just make sure that they're aware that you have graduated high school and that your schooling choices have been updated for trade school or leveled schooling. Okay, offers of class, the main thing to remember is that while the ministry does still control them, class invites are sent out in email form from Skill Trades Ontario. So you do need to make sure that you are checking your email. I know not everyone is on top of their emails all the time, but once you become an apprentice, it's very important to know when those offers are coming out so that you don't miss out on a schooling offer. And then some good news for anyone who is going into the trades. As of January, level 1 tuition is being absorbed by the ministry. So that means level 1 tuition will be free for you. It's just the tuition, but that is a savings of an average of between $400 and $600. There might still be some college fees and books, though, that you will need to cover. There are different entry points to apprenticeship. I'll just go over some briefly, just so that you know the options that are available to you. There is going straight into employment, of course. This is a best case scenario, especially if you do already have an OYAP RTA. If you want to explore a union, just research the union you're interested in because they have their own intake system and requirements. There are a variety of college programs out there. So if anyone wants a college experience first or is going to change career paths and wants to go to school first, do your research here. There are a lot of great programs out there, but know what you will be graduating with before signing up. There are also pre-apprenticeship programs. So if you don't have any experience yet in the trades, could be one way to get some introductory experience. And then your private colleges are a great resource if you're looking to get something like a gas technician's license, for example, which is a requirement for certain trades. Other than that, I'm sure these are also topics that you've heard of a lot through your high school programs already, but preparing for work in the trades, here are some of the things you want to keep in mind. You want to make sure that you are building your transferable skills, various ways you could do that, and working on getting your driver's license. Hopefully you've already started, but if not, do give it a start already. Depending on your trade, you might need a full G license to be an apprentice. So keep that in mind. And when it comes to investing in tools, you want to start off small, start with the most essential tools, but do get started investing in your toolkit. And if you did OYAP, you probably already have several safety certifications. If not, then I would work towards that as well. And then, of course, networking. Networking is so important regardless of the industry that you're in, but it's especially important in the trades. One thing that we want to highlight, just because it comes up a lot from employers, is when it comes to social media presence, please keep in mind that employers are looking at your social media. So just be mindful of what you're putting out there. you will get a copy of these slides later, so you can always look over the list that we have on the screen here. And then to make you aware, these are the top traits that employers are looking for. And this is based on an employer survey that was conducted throughout Canada. So you'll notice the majority of the skills that they're looking for, it's about who you are as an employee, not necessarily the skills on the tools that you may or may not have already. So you want to make sure that you are showing up with all of these traits. These are things that for the most part, employers can't teach you. They can't teach you to be coachable, to show up on time for work. Those are all things that you have to bring on your own. So keep that in mind as you are presenting yourself with your employers and starting off in your career. Now, as part of your support network, I know there are a lot of great organizations that are here to help. Here are some of the ways that SOY can help as you get started. The first one here being our Trades Readiness Program. This is an online-based program designed to equip you with the essential skills and knowledge required to excel in the trades. From coaching calls to resume support and even webinars, you can register for the program online, and the resources that are available would be free to you. We also have a monthly newsletter that you can sign up for, so you can receive some up-to-date industry and apprenticeship-related news. You can see a list there of some of the webinars that we have conducted. We cover a wide range of topics. So this is just an example. First one being auto related, the next one being electrical. So we cover across a variety of trades. And then SOY does also run a scholarship program every year. So keep that in mind as you do move forward with your apprenticeship. That might be an option that you want to apply for, and it can help cover costs of leveled schooling. One of our most popular programs is our boot camp. We run one-day boot camp events where you can gain some valuable hands-on tools experience while learning and networking with licensed journey people. These days are free, and you get to keep a starter toolkit as well. You can go ahead and scan that QR code on the screen or go to that website that you see there, toolsinthetrades.ca. Please do keep in mind that the schedule is updated frequently, and our fiscal year does start on April 1st, so lots of new dates will be added in the coming months. And it is province-wide, so it's not always in Toronto. We go all over Ontario. Another good resource for you to visit is skilltradesontario.ca. You'll find information on here about all the trades, including descriptions, curriculum standards, and trade reports for workforce profile data. And then another support program also is Arise, which is through Literacy Links. They provide upskilling resources. So if anyone in apprenticeship is looking for supports once they have left high school, including upskilling for math or even exam prep strategies, Arise could be a good program that you can contact. And for anyone who might want to explore some college programs before going into a trade, this is a website that's a good search engine if you want to see what types of trades-related college programs are being offered out there. It's not necessary if you have already started with your apprenticeship or if you can get straight into employment first. But if you are exploring, that's a good search engine to look through. So that's just a brief summary then about SOY and all the top things that we want to bring to your attention. I'm happy to answer any questions now, or even we'll be staying on for the rest of the conversation today. So even if it's not until the end, we can still answer questions. And thank you for your time.
Thanks, Sarah. Again, lots of amazing resources available to you students. So I hope you're taking notes and taking all this great advice. You will get an email with all of these links and information for later. I know this is a lot of information to take in at one time, but please tap into these resources and it'll definitely help you as you proceed forward. So we're now going to move on to our last guest before we talk to the school board reps. Thank you, Sarah. I'm going to pass it over to Emily McCormack now from apprenticeship.com, and she's going to talk to you about more resources available to you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for having me on the call today. I'm just going to share my screen. Fantastic. So I'm from apprenticesearch.com, and I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do. And my name's Emily McCormack. I'm a program coordinator and facilitator. So what I'm going to talk about today is finding employment in the skilled trades, the registration process to be on our website and to use our services, and then also some of our programs and services. So a little bit about ApprenticeSearch.com. It's a free online job search and matching platform with an exclusive focus on apprenticeship trade positions across Canada. And we're more than just a technological solution to job searching. We also offer support and guidance to both employers and apprentices. What I really like about our website is it's real people behind the scenes working with you one-on-one, helping you find that apprenticeship opportunity. It's not automated. We don't use AI. And also something about our services is we are Canada-wide. So if you are looking to, stay local to where you are, we can help you do that. But if also you're looking to move around a little bit, we can help you with that as well. So a little bit about what you could do on our website as a job seeker. So you could create a profile. And with that profile, you're going to be able to search for and apply to jobs and be connected with employers. Also, you can sign up for one-on-one job coaching with one of our job coaches, and it's really personalized support. They focus on skilled trades, so they can help make sure that your resume is skilled trades focused. They can help you with interview prep. They can help you with intake tests. Whatever it may be, they're going to be able to support you. Also, you can register for our exploration and employment programs and also our networking and mentorship. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of those near the end of the presentation. So let's talk a little bit about finding employment in the skilled trades, because that's something that we do. We help people find jobs in the trade, so it makes sense that we should give you a little bit of advice on this call today. First off is the steps to an apprenticeship. So you're going to explore your career options, and if you've done an OYAP, you already might have something in mind, or maybe you're thinking about going a little bit of a different direction, and either is okay. Then you're going to create a plan of action. So how are you going to get into that job? And we just heard about the different ways that you can get into an apprenticeship, which is amazing. So you kind of heard, the pre-apprenticeship programs, unions. There was a great slide about that a little bit ago. Also, you go register with ApprenticeSearch.com, but we can also help you with step 1 and 2 and kind of figure out what you want to do and which way you want to get into the trades. We're going to help you with step 4 for sure. We're going to help you find that employer and sponsor. Then you get registered with Skilled Trades Ontario, which has already been talked about on the call as well. And then you complete your apprenticeship. And when you're done your apprenticeship, you are a journey person. Let's talk about what employers are looking for in an apprentice. First off is previously related experience, and it doesn't necessarily have to be work experience. We've worked with people who've had project cars at home, that they had that passion in trying to fix things up on their own. Employers love to see that. We've also worked with people who've worked on like deck projects, had a side hustle building decks. That just shows that you know how to use tools, you know how to measure things. I met a woman last week who she welded for fun. She did art as welding, and now she is looking to become a welder. So employers are going to be really interested to hear that she has welding experience, but it's also a passion. She cares about it. Employers love that. Also, certifications. So any types of certifications that you can get that are related to your trade. And the fact that you already have done an OYAP is going to be so great and going to look so good when you are going to these employers. But other ones, for example, forklift operator. If you're looking to get into more of a manufacturing type setting, that's going to be really helpful for you. But also those health and safety certifications. So WMIS, working at heights. I always like to give the example if you are looking to be a power line technician, working at heights is going to be really helpful for you. Or another good example would be those interested in HVAC. Getting gas fitter licenses are going to be a real benefit to getting into that trade. Availability that fits their work schedule. Research is so important. And you probably know this already, but some trades you're going to be working, evenings, shift work, weekends. Is that going to be okay with you? Can you work those shifts? Also, individuals with a driver's license. This is a really big one that we're seeing. We're really going to encourage you to get your license. If you don't have it yet, that's okay. But we're really going to make that a goal for you. Reason behind that. Let's say you want to work in more of a trade where you're going to be going to people's homes. Let's say plumbing. You go to people's homes, you're going to need to be able to bring tools with you. So you're going to need a vehicle to transport them. Maybe you're going to houses that don't have bus routes. So having a vehicle is going to be really helpful. Also, For example, maybe you work for a company and they have a work truck and they want you to go pick up materials. Again, you're just going to be a more, it's a benefit to the team to have your driver's license. Of course, there's going to be some trades where it's not needed. For example, if you want to be a cook, which is a skilled trade, and you want to work in a downtown core, that might not be a less of a priority to you. But for lots of trades, you are going to want that driver's license. Also, strong employability skills. And some of these I think were already touched on a little bit, but things like punctuality, communication skills are really important. And finally, a strong resume that reflects what they're looking for. So this is why one of the first things we'll look at with you is your resume. Because employers want to hire the best of the best. There is a demand for skilled trade workers, but they still want to find that right fit. I met a carpenter. I like telling this because I just met him, I think a year ago. He was taking on his very first apprentice and he posted the job and he had 10 people apply to the job he posted. And he told me that of those 10 people, I believe it was 8 of them gave him a document that just said who their previous employer was and nothing else. Didn't say what their job was, what they did, what their skills were. The person he hired was the only one who sent a resume and a cover letter. It was very, very detailed. The person did not have experience in carpentry. He was actually a chef. And that is the person he ended up hiring. And he was quite happy that he hired that person. So again, a strong resume is important. So let's talk about the registration process to be on apprenticesearch.com. It is quite simple, but also why you might want to be on apprenticesearch.com. It is free. There is no cost to any of our services. Also, we have over 5,000 employers who do utilize our website. When you make an account with us, we review your application. And because of that, we have no bots on our website. We don't have, some really young kids in grade 8 who aren't ready to work yet on our website. Everyone on our website is ready to work, which is why we have so many employers on our website, because they like that it's already been pre-screened for them. And same on the employer side, we screen the employers as well. Also, as I mentioned before, you can book one-on-one time with our staff, and it's really personalized support. Also, we'll share job postings with you. If you meet your job coach, you tell them what you're interested in, and they see something first, they're going to be making sure you know about it. Also, you'll be the first to hear about our programs and events. And also, whenever possible, we like to offer wage subsidies or point employers towards wage subsidies that they can utilize to incentivize them to take on that early apprentice. So to create an account with us, it's very simple. You're going to go to apprenticesearch.com. When you get there, you're going to see this orange button on the top right corner. That's where you can register. Or if you scroll down, you'll also see a button that says register as a job seeker, which is what you are. You're going to make sure that you use an email that you are using for your job search. So a big piece of advice to students on the call today, please do not use your school email while you are doing your job searches. You are, going to be looking for employment now, not as a student, and you might lose access to that student email one day. So please use the email that you're going to be using for your job searching. We will send you approval. We'll send confirmation to that email address. Then you're going to complete your profile. We do ask for some personal information. This is not for the employers. This is for us to support you. A good example I always like to give is we ask your age. One time we heard about a youth in construction event and it was for anyone under 25. So then we were able to sort which of our clients were under 25. So that reasons like that is why we asked for this information. Then you're going to upload a resume. Again, this is how we make sure we don't have bots on our website, that everyone on our website is ready to work. Your resume does not need to be perfect. We can help make it perfect, but we just need to see a copy of it first. And then you'll receive approval from our team. Sometimes it can take up to 24 hours. Usually it's much quicker than that, but I always say give it that 24 hours because a real person is going to look at your account. Then you can start accessing our services. Your job coach is going to message you. You could book a session with them. And it's a great calendar system where you can see their availability and book it based on what works for you. And then you can also start searching for jobs on the platform and applying to jobs on the platform. So a little bit of advice on how to be successful on apprenticesearch.com. Fully complete your profile to the best of your abilities. So again, we do ask for that personal information. If you can share that with us, that will help us support you. Identify the trades you want to pursue. So we do ask for you to pick 2 trades of interest. You can change those at any point though. They are not in stone. If you want to change them later on, you can, but we do ask for 2 trades of interest. And oftentimes trades, there is some similarity between trades. So if you only have one in mind, do a little bit of research. I'm sure you'll be able to find a second one. Good example would be if you're interested in plumbing, look at pipe fitters as well. If you're interested in carpentry, look at cabinet making. You just might be surprised about the similarities between some trades, and it opens more doors if you have more interests. Upload a relevant resume. So you're going to upload a resume to make an account with us. But let's say you get some training, you get a certification. We're going to want to make sure you update that resume and reload it to your profile because that's what employers are going to see. And then actively search for and apply to jobs. So using the website regularly, it changes all the time, and then applying to those jobs. As I just said, regularly checking it, it changes week for week. We do not like jobs sitting on our website. We want to fill them really quick because we are also working with these employers to help them hire. So the positions change very regularly. And finally, we always like to say, don't give up. Sometimes you go for an interview, you thought it went well, and you don't get the job. That's pretty normal. Most people don't get the first job that they interview for. What we want you to do is come back to us. Let us help you prepare for the next interview. Tell us about the answers you gave. Let's see if we could polish it up a little bit. So hopefully you get that next job. Really quick, some of our programs and services that we offer on top of that job matching platform. We do have our Women in Skilled Trade Peer Mentorship Group. So we meet on the second Thursday of every month. It is online. It is across Canada. It is a pretty cool group. We have a different keynote speaker every single month. She shares her journey. She shares her advice. It's a different trade every month. We've had quite a variety of women on the call, and it's just a really nice environment to be on. It's very supportive, and it's just nice to be able to connect with other women. So that is the second Thursday of every month. It's on Zoom. It is free. And then we also have our industry networking speaker series. We pick a trade of interest over 3 days. We host people who work in that trade, and they tell us a little bit about what they do. We try to have unions, colleges, and independent employers present so you can get a variety of perspectives and see what might be the best fit for you. Again, this is on Zoom and free. And I did want to put my email up on the screen as well. If you think of something later today, you are more than welcome to email me. If you make an account and you need some help getting connected with the right person, I can do that for you. So feel free to jot my email down there. So thank you all so much. And yeah, if there's any questions, please let me know.
Thanks, Emily.
Thanks so much.
Information, more great tips and information. Really appreciate it. And I'm really inspired by all this awesome stuff we're learning. Okay, so I'm now going to pass it over to our school board reps. Thanks, Emily. Now joining us to share more information about the OYAP program are our school board representatives who are dedicated to helping students like yourself plan their futures in the skilled trades. Please meet David Pope, OYAP coordinator representing Waterloo Region District School Board, and Cidalia Taggart, student achievement consultant representing the Waterloo Catholic District School Board. I'm going to pass the camera over to them for the next few minutes, and they have some good information to share as well.
Excellent, thank you. And thanks to all the great presenters. So what a lot of students don't know is that, or think about, is when you leave high school, you lose access to your guidance counselors and your teachers and the resources that are available to you in high school. So especially when you're thinking skilled trades, is you need to find out who those next people are that are going to support you or help you along your apprenticeship pathway. So that's why we have this event, and that's who these folks are. So you have a go-to person to ask questions, to connect with, to help get you into that career that you're looking for. So part of our job is to help prepare you for that transition out of high school and those things that you need to think of that you're maybe not thinking about right now. So first of all, when you leave high school, you lose your school email address. So it was kind of brought up, but make sure that you're using your personal email address on stuff. So if you're creating accounts on their sites, if you're communicating with employers, anything of that nature, make sure you're not using your school email address. It's really important that you make that transition sooner than later. I will also give you advice to make sure that your personal email address is appropriate to send to employers. You may have something very unique for your personal email address. But if you're starting to email employers and job search, you need to make sure that whatever your personal email address is something that you would want to send to employers, and they're not judging you based on some odd email address name. The other big thing is making sure you back up all your files. So when you leave high school, you lose access to whether it's your Microsoft files or your Google files, you lose all that stuff. So the most important is anything you did skilled trade related. So maybe stuff you did in tech classes or whatever, as well as anything you did in co-op. So those documents that were kind of highlighted earlier, so whether you were in OYAP and you have your you got a certificate at the end or a letter at the end of your co-op placement to show how many hours or the trade you're in, you need to keep that stuff. If you did daily or weekly logs as part of co-op, you need to make sure that you have that stuff. That is stuff that will be helpful for you in the future. That will potentially count towards some hours. So some of your co-op hours may count towards your apprenticeship hours in the future. And also just communicating with future employers is showing them stuff that you have done. So using that as evidence of your expertise or your previous experience. So that's really important. And it was also kind of brought up is, again, there are 144 apprenticeable trades in Ontario. So don't just think like plumber, I want to be a plumber and like that's the only option. As mentioned, like pipe fitters, another great example. There are lots of trades out there. So don't just pick one and go, that's what I want to be. Spend some time to look at other options. So even automotive service technician in the motive power sector, there's about 15 different trades that all deal with in one way, shape, or form working on vehicles, different types of vehicles, and doing different work on them. Spend some time looking and seeing what the options are and doing some research. While you're still in high school, you have access to My Blueprint where you can do some career research. You can look at different options and again, do different quizzes and try to help kind of narrow down that field or at least down to the sector that you're looking for. But then again, once you leave high school, there's different options. So that's where like apprenticesearch.com is a great option. You can still look at OYAP. There's great resources. There's Skilled Trades Ontario that has got great resources for every trade. So again, spend some time, invest in your future by doing research on your different jobs. I would also highly recommend checking your email daily. So anytime you're dealing with lots of stuff in the future with regards to Skilled Trades Ontario, once you become an apprentice, or maybe it's when you're getting your schooling offering for when you go start to go to trade school, you will not get a phone call. You will most likely just get an email. And if you don't check your email frequently, you're going to miss an opportunity. So that has to be like part of your thing. It needs to be turned on, like connected to your phone. If you're receiving a personal email, you need to make sure you're checking that. That tends to be the biggest delay and the biggest lost opportunities is if you don't frequently check your email. And then the only other thing I want to mention too is it was also brought up as well is there's lots of pathways into skilled trades and post-secondary. A lot of students may think that college is your pathway into trades, and it can be for some, but you do not have to go to college in order to pursue a skilled trade. That may be for a student that didn't do co-op and didn't do any tech courses and maybe wants more practice before they go out and do. But it was kind of brought up is if you already have an employer willing to sign a training agreement or you already have a training agreement, unless you want to go practice more before you go do, then you're already ahead of most. So when you go to college, you're not walking out with a job, you're walking out with more training. But if you already have the job, you're going to do all your training on the job. That's the way the apprenticeship process works. So you don't have to go to college to pursue an apprenticeship, but you could if you choose to. I will also mention for pre-apprenticeship programs, those are not a mandatory component. You can choose to do a pre-apprenticeship program. Again, that's more training before you go do. But if you already have a training agreement, you already have an employer that has hired you or signed that training agreement, is you don't need to do that unless you choose to, is you've already skipped all that and you're already way ahead of the game by having that signed training agreement. if you are leaving our high school, so it's in the chat for you. So if you're graduating at the end of this semester and you're trying to figure out what to do next, you have the email for myself and Miss Taggart from Waterloo Catholic. Send us an email, give us your name, tell us that you're graduating, and let us know what your next step is. So let us know that, like, hey, I got signed during co-op as a whatever apprentice. I'm continuing with that employer. Or I got signed during co-op, but I'm switching employers. Or I'm graduating, but I don't have an employer yet. Let us know what your plan is or what's going to happen next, because there's stuff we can do on our end to help you out and to expedite things. And then there's certain information we're going to give you based on your situation so that your apprenticeship isn't delayed if you're continuing with that employer, switching employers, or just trying to figure out what to do next. We're your first step to kind of help you before you go, and we'll make sure you have the information that gets you to the right place at the right time. Ms. Taggart, do you have anything to add to that? I think I got everything that was on my list.
Did a great job, Dave. Thank you very much. I don't have too much else to add other than if you completed SHSM certifications or if you've obtained the certifications required to achieve a major, ensure that you put all of that information on your resume, because favorably, they will see all the additional training completed en route to becoming a potential apprentice. The other thing is, if you're with the Waterloo Catholic District School Board, we do use Our Republic to track your work hours and your weekly logs. And it's important that you back up that information down the road. It might be required that you present your weekly logs to show the skills that you've accomplished at your co-op placements. So if you're using Our Republic to track that, it's proof of the hours that you've completed and all of the skills that you've been able to practice and the competencies that you've demonstrated. And they've all been signed off by your employer. Therefore, that is a really great tool that you can use in the future to prove your experience. So as Dave said, it's really, really important that you back up all your information, you keep all your records. I'm not saying that you need to have printed copies of everything, but put them on a drive somewhere that you can access once you no longer have access to your school email. And then, you know, there are a lot of options in getting grades, but going knocking on doors is not a bad idea. Having a great resume and a cover letter, presenting yourself at a business, explain them face to face why you want to pursue that trade and why you would be a great asset to their business could be the difference between your application and someone else who simply emailed it. So I know it's a bit antiquated. We're going back to when people really had to only that option to acquire a but there are a lot of tradespeople that really do love that face-to-face contact and connection. And so if you are looking for someone to apprentice you and you know the trade that you would like to pursue, then just Google the businesses around your area and you know, approach them in person and let them know that you're interested, and bring a physical copy of your package, your application package, and you never know what that might lead to. And as Dave said, if you are with the Waterloo Catholic District School, please reach out to me at graduation and let me know your next steps if you have a training agreement already. If you don't have a training agreement and you need a reminder of what the resources are in the community, please also reach out and I will forward this presentation to you, or I will connect you with agencies in our community. That's it for me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dave and Cidalia, for some great info. I do want to just thank everyone for being here, our presenters and our partners. The BEP is thrilled to be able to work with great organizations like you to provide these opportunities for our youth. And we hope that these insights have been helpful to you and help you better understand the opportunities and can allow you to continue exploring your future yourself. I want to congratulate the students who attended tonight and thank you for taking the time, investing the time in yourself tonight to listen to this presentation. And I know that your futures are bright as you pursue the what happens next as you graduate from the OYAP program. being live here tonight is a great shows a lot of resilience that you did that, and that you saw this as an important opportunity, and you're going to have a step up now with this information that has been shared tonight. So I hope everyone learned a lot. So we are going to open it up for a Q&A. Everyone's back on the screen, and you've been a pretty quiet group, but I'm wondering if there are any questions. We would be happy to take them now and answer them live. So don't be shy. A little bit quiet. I know it's a lot of information to take in. I'm not sure if we're going to get any questions. So,
If you think of questions after the presentation, by all means, reach out to us.
Yeah. And I do want to point out that you are going to getting a follow-up email from me. And there will be a link to this presentation. It will be recorded, so you can watch it again at a later date and fast forward or whatever to the parts you want. And I will also be sending you out a short survey, and we'd appreciate it if you fill it out. There will be links to a lot of resources, which we were sharing today, but we'll send them again. If you want to keep in touch with the BEP, follow us on Instagram or LinkedIn. We do run a lot of free events for youth as well. We have 2 coming up that I will point out. February 18th, we have another Zoom similar to this with a really great speaker named John Gallagher from Job Talks. And he's going to reaffirm what you already know, that pursuing a career in the skilled trades is an excellent opportunity. So if you want to sign up, again, he does deliver a great presentation. It is actually open to parents too, that one. And then we'll do another one in March. So those are some future opportunities. And we'll see if we have any more questions have popped in. Doesn't look like it. Does anyone else have anything else they'd like to say before we wrap up?
Go, David, go.
Sure. It's been mentioned, but just making sure you do your own research. There's lots of great resources available out there. I would highly recommend for anybody. So every region has a workforce planning board, and each workforce planning board has lots of data. They poll employers to get information about many different trades, many different careers, and search that information out. And use that information to help inform the trade or the sector you're interested in, finding out where the jobs are. So again, Workforce Planning Board is a really good option to get really good data about local careers, local job trends, all that sort of stuff.
Great. Okay, I think we're going to wrap it up.
Oh.
Again, I just say thank you to everyone. This wraps up our event. Thank you for joining us. Presenters, appreciate it. There's a little snowstorm brewing out there, so we can all get home if you're not already at home. And thanks everyone for coming out tonight. Good luck everyone in your futures. Thank you.